Hello there. I've just decided to put together an assembly focusing on Liberation Day, May 9th, 1945. And the reason I decided to do this assembly is obviously reflecting on the current challenges that we're facing and the challenges that people in Jersey experienced in the past, particularly in World War II. So the challenges we face now obviously revolve around the virus COVID-19. This has resulted in lockdown, social distancing, impacting on our relationships and meetings with friends. It's impacted on our leisure time. Swimming pools, cinema, restaurants have closed. Sporting events have been cancelled. Holidays have been cancelled, etc. So this current event has had a big impact on all our lives, teachers and families. But Jersey has faced challenges in the past, and coming up on May the 9th, it's the 75th remembrance celebrations for liberation that took place on May 9th, 1945. Now, people during World War II experienced many hardships, but Jersey survived these challenges, learnt from these experiences, and moved on, as we will now with the current challenges. We celebrate liberation in part to remember those who lived through this period and the bravery shown by many people who lived under occupation. In many ways, links to the bravery that's been shown by our current health workers in the current crisis in Jersey and across the UK. I'm starting off with Captain Hans Kegelmann, and I found an interesting quote from him. He was a German tank battalion commander who was wounded in Russia, and he was sent to Jersey to serve, and he made the following comment, and hopefully you can see it on the slide as well. The Jersey people were normal, they behaved normally, they were not afraid. And as in the current crisis, many people are adapting and dealing with the current pressures that we're all experiencing and supporting each other through these difficult times. I decided to focus on some personal stories that help to reflect the bravery that's been shown during the war. For example, Ada Legale. Now, her home was located in St. Juan's near a prison camp called Lager Brinkforth, which was located on 5 Mile Road, St. Juan. And you can see an outline there, an image on the PowerPoint slide where you can see some accommodation where Russian and Spanish prisoners were kept during the occupation of Jersey. They were used to help build the wall, which Hitler had ordered Rommel to plan and build to defend occupied territories from a possible Allied invasion. The Spanish prisoners who were sent by the fascist leader of Spain, Franco, many of whom were former Spanish communists or socialists who had opposed Franco and his fascist regime. One day, Ada was washing clothes in a barn when a prisoner came to the house looking for food. The German sold for food. Now, she was going to feed him and she was provide him with food when she was warned that German soldiers were searching for the prisoner. So she hid the prisoner in her laundry house. Now, actually, as far as I understand the story, she did her washing in a big pot, basically where water would be boiled. And what she did, she hadn't actually ignited the pot or heated the water up, so she decided to hide the prisoner in the pot and then decided to light the pot to give the impression to the German soldiers that she was just washing. And obviously the German soldiers wouldn't think that somebody would be in the pot while it was lighted. Luckily, the German soldiers didn't hang around that long and left, and she got the prisoner out of the pot and provided him with the food that he'd asked for. Now, another interesting story that I came across was a guy called Peter Crill, who became the bailiff of Jersey eventually. Now, I'm not sure if he's related to Joe Crill, possibly. I'm sure Mr. Crill would be able to confirm that. Now, in November 1944, he was aged 19. With his two friends, Roy Moron and John Floyd, he attempted to escape Jersey on a small boat. Now, they managed to escape to France and were very lucky, and landed near a place called Coutances in France. Now, when they landed, they approached a bistro that was just set back from the beach, and the bistro owner asked them how they got there, and they pointed to the boat that just came ashore and said that they just walked across the beach. The owner of the bistro then explained to them that they just walked through a former minefield, a German minefield, which had just been cleared that morning. So it gives you a real sense of the idea of some of the challenges that they faced. They also managed to get to France without an outboard motor because the outboard motor became flooded, so they had to row their way in pretty rough seas. There are many other stories as well about people who served and the bravery that they showed during Jersey. This guy, Dennis Vibert, amazes me that he decided to row from Jersey to England. Now, luckily, he was picked up by the British Navy and he survived. And not only that, when he was picked up, he decided to join the RAF as well to serve his country. But people within Jersey, as we've seen, also raised the challenges of occupation and displayed enormous bravery. For example, the Bertram family helped people escape Jersey. They hid boats, they provided food and hot drinks to those attempting to escape. Now, you need to remember that if Bill Bertram had been caught doing this, or his family members would have been caught doing this, they could have been sent to concentration camps where they would possibly have been lucky to have survived the war. Now, after the war, Bill Bertram was awarded the British Empire Medal for the bravery that he displayed. So, remembering, we should always try and remember the past. We can learn from the past and we can take lessons from it which help us to deal with challenging times that we're experiencing at present. Now, during the war, 2,200 people were deported from Jersey and Guernsey during the war. Most were sent to internment camps and most survived the war. However, some were not so lucky and were sent to notorious German concentration camps, death camps, such as Bergen-Belsen, Ravensbrück, Auschwitz and Buchenwald. Now, they were sent for a whole variety of reasons. One included slapping a German soldier who acted inappropriately to a young girl, the spreading of news from the BBC. Well, obviously, many people who lived on the island were confronted with German propaganda and felt that they weren't getting accurate news. Others were sent for attempting to escape Jersey. Another was sent for helping an escaped slave worker. One was helped from a German soldier, which was quite interesting, trying to desert the German army. You could also be sent for owning items such as guns, which was prohibited, radios or cameras. The Germans were very keen that the people in Jersey weren't aware of the key developments. Now, we know that approximately 22 people died in Nazi confinement during this period from Jersey. Now, a challenge for you. Now, it's good for you to remember the past. As I said, we can learn from the past. We can learn lessons from the past which help us deal with challenges in the present. Now, what I would like you to do is to see if you can find a story of a family member from World War II. You may know some already, but you may find a story that you didn't know. And maybe when we return to normal in school, you can share those stories with your tutors in an assembly, or with other family members, or with friends, or even with your history teachers. Now, I have 3 clear stories I can remember as examples that helped to engage me with an understanding of World War II when I was growing up. Now, the first story I remember is my mother explaining to me that my grandfather's brother, he was one of 9 children, my grandfather's brother served in the British Army and he was at Dunkirk and he was defending the beaches at Dunkirk to allow time for troops to be evacuated. Now he and his colleagues, other British soldiers, were captured by SS troops who were notoriously brutal in the German army, and they were seen as the racial elite within the German army. And these British troops were taken to a barn, and SS troops threw grenades and machine gunned the barn. Now, luckily, my uncle and one other soldier survived that. They left the barn, and as they were walking trying to rejoin British troops or to escape, they were captured by normal German troops and were sent to a German prison camp where he served the rest of the war. Another story, the second story I want to recount to you, is basically an experience with my mother during the war. Now, during the war, you may have heard these stories, some of you, before. I'm sure many of you haven't. Is that my mother's father, my grandfather, was serving in the British Army, and he was manned ack guns in Dover, where he was trying to shoot down basically rockets and German planes that were coming over to bomb England. On one day he returned on leave. Now, he cooked my family, my mother and my grandmother, a lovely meal, and they had meat in the meal, which was like a stew, which they didn't normally have because of food shortages during World War II. And when my mother went down to feed her pet rabbits in the morning, the rabbits had gone, and she realised that my grandfather had used the rabbits for the stew which he had eaten the previous evening, and she'd never ever forgot that. Another story she told me about her experiences during the war was there was an air raid siren. She was in the street with her mother walking home, and an air raid siren went, and this is when a V1 rocket was coming. Now, when the V1 rockets, when the noise stopped of the engine, you knew that the rockets were dropping. And they could hear the sirens, they could hear the rocket, and they decided to run for the nearest tube station shelter. And they got to the top of the stairs of the tube station, and the rocket detonated. The V1 rocket detonated in the street, causing the blast, causing my mother and her mother to fall down the steep stairs into this tube station. And my mother's face smashed on the stairs at the bottom of the tube station stairs, and she lost most of her teeth as a result of that. Now, these are just two stories that were told for me and helped me remember and helped me understand how lucky I am, and give me a sense of what some of the challenges my family members have gone through in the past. So I hope you found this assembly useful and interesting. I hope it helps you to reflect on the current challenges. And I suppose I just want to finish really by saying that we need to think of all the health workers who are risking their lives, many of them, on a daily basis to support the wider community. And that's why we're experiencing some of the challenges we're facing at the moment. But as Jersey did in World War II, I'm sure we'll overcome those challenges as well, and things will return to normal. Thank you for listening.